Have you ever found yourself Google searching for something like signs of a nervous system dysregulation or healing? Or how do I know if my nervous system is balanced? Or even how do I know if my nervous system is healing right? Well, you're not alone, and this one's for you. Hello, friend, and welcome to Torches, Yoga, and Mindfulness. I'm Lauren, and I'll be your coach. If you're curious about mindfulness, healing, and practical habits that actually work, you're in the right place. Here we focus on simple but powerful practices grounded in ancient wisdom and modern science to care for both our minds and bodies. So go ahead, hit that like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. So there's a quiet frustration that comes with mindfulness and nervous system regulation work. You meditate, you journal, you breathe, you try to be self-aware, and yet you still get triggered. You still feel tired, and you still have hard days. And that can make it feel like you're failing at regulation. But what if you're actually more regulated than you think? First, let me clear something up. From a neuroscience perspective, regulation is about flexibility, not stillness. It's the nervous system's ability to move between states of activation and rest, and most importantly, to return to the moment and ourselves. You're not dysregulated because you feel anxious, frustrated, sad, or overstimulated. Those are 100% normal human responses. Your body is functioning exactly as it is built to. Regulation actually means we can notice what is truly happening. We can respond rather than react from fear or frustration. And we can find our way back to a baseline, even if it takes some time. Often regulation shows up after the hard moment, not during it. And that's where many people miss it. And then we start down the spiral of self-criticism. So let's talk about the signs that you're on the right track and you deserve more credit than you're giving yourself. The number one sign of being on the right track is that you are noticing that you feel dysregulated in the first place. So this is probably going to really show my age. Just be patient. Do you remember back in like the 90s, maybe even in the early 2000s, there was this saying before Google, before social medias were a thing everywhere, there was this saying floating around. And for me, it's like it was everywhere. It was said in various ways, but the gist of it was crazy people don't question whether they are crazy. Like just the fact that you're asking means you're not. The same thing is happening here with your nervous system regulation and mindful living practices. If you are able to say, I feel activated, or my body is feeling tense, or I'm having some really heavy thoughts and emotions about this, that right there is interoceptive awareness, a key marker of regulated nervous systems. Awareness is regulation. You can't work with what you're numb to or disconnected from. All right, sign number 2 that you are doing better than you think, you recover quicker. We might still get overwhelmed. We still cry. We still shut down and maybe even snap at someone we love. But we don't stay there as long. Maybe it used to take days to come back to yourself. Now, maybe it's a few hours or just an afternoon or just a good night's sleep instead of a week-long emotional hangover. This is called improved nervous system recovery, and it's one of the clearest signs your system is learning safety. Progress is measured in duration here, not elimination. Sign 3, you paused before reacting. Even if the pause is barely there, even if it feels clumsy or imperfect, it might look like the moment you hover your thumb over the send button and then just hit backspace. Or maybe it's the breath you take before answering a question that would normally snap from you. For me, sometimes it just looks like a quick, quiet check-in when I notice that surge of emotion rising. And instead of letting it take the wheel, I just stay with it a bit longer. It moves on or it adjusts, and I can move on with more clarity. That pause, that delay, it matters. That's your prefrontal cortex getting back online, which means choice is returning. That's regulation. We don't have to have perfectly measured responses or just be endlessly calm. Regulation isn't about doing it right. It's about creating just enough space between impulse and action for our awareness to land. And when that space exists, even briefly, our nervous systems are doing exactly what they are designed to do. If you're ever in a hard experience and you find yourself thinking, I'm healing, I'm breathing and practicing, but what just happened still feels so heavy, upsetting, or maybe you feel like you're fighting back an emotional outburst, you're still on the right track. The presence of heavy emotions doesn't mean the absence of regulation. Feeling something strongly doesn't undo the pause you create. It doesn't erase the moment of choice. Regulation isn't measured by how calm you look on the outside. It's your capacity to stay with what's happening without losing yourself. And often the next sign of regulation shows up right after this moment. Sign number 4, that you're doing better than you give yourself credit for. You are able to name what you're feeling. Even if the words aren't perfect, even if all you can say is something feels off or this is a lot, maybe even I just don't feel like myself right now. Being able to name what we're experiencing is a powerful form of nervous system regulation. When we put words to sensations, emotions, or our internal state, the brain begins to organize the experience instead of being overwhelmed by it. We don't have to analyze it or explain it, we just have to acknowledge it. And that simple act of naming creates containment. It turns raw sensation into something we can be with instead of something that is just happening to us. Think back for just a moment. Was there a recent moment of stress where you could tell that something was happening and shifting inside you, even if you don't have all the words for it? Many people are conditioned to only slow down when things are unbearable. We push through over and over until our self-care is in utter neglect. So if you find that you rest before the crash out, set a boundary before resentment builds, or take a walk because you're tense, not because you're at your limit, that's regulation. Choosing care earlier means your nervous system trusts that relief is allowed before crisis. When we don't rush to analyze or justify, when we don't forego gratitude, and when we don't shame ourselves for feeling bad, that's regulation. And specifically, this aspect of regulation is called distress tolerance, when we can be with discomfort without immediately trying to fix it. It doesn't mean we like the feeling, it means we're not afraid of it. And changing that relationship with our emotions and experiences, that changes everything. Okay, friend, the last one I have on my list of signs your daily practices are working is that we repair faster. We're still going to have moments of reactivity. We'll still say the wrong thing sometimes, and we'll get defensive sometimes. But our awareness gives us choice to not abandon ourselves so we can process and handle the difficult things in life. We can repair to move forward. Maybe that looks like an apology, some time to reflect, or simply choosing not to shame ourselves. The ability to repair is a sure sign of nervous system resilience. Next time you feel like you're backsliding, remember, regulation doesn't show up the same way everywhere in your life. You can feel grounded, present, and emotionally steady in one space and feel completely activated in another. That doesn't mean your practices aren't working. It means your nervous system is responding to context. And that activation is actually really helpful information. If some relationship or aspect of your life just eats away at your peace, it may be a sign that something there isn't fully aligned with your needs. Work stress, grief, old relational patterns, trauma history, hormones, sleep, nourishment, and major life transitions all shape how safe or threatened our body feels in any given moment. And all those experiences layer within us. They interact and they change over time. Being regulated isn't a permanent state we achieve and then just maintain forever. It's a living, responsive relationship between our inner world and the environment we're moving through. So, if you notice that you're calm with friends but reactive with family, or grounded at home but overwhelmed in busy public spaces, That's not a sign you're failing. It's information. It's our nervous system communicating where it feels safe and where it's still learning. And most of all, it means you're just human. Next time you hear that inner critic saying, I should be doing better by now, or why am I still struggling? Remember, you're not crazy if you're asking if you're crazy. Though harsh, that inner voice is only there because you are growing. As our awareness increases, self observation does too. And unfortunately, those come before the ease does. This is normal in healing or retraining our nervous system. If you recognize any of these in yourself, let that matter. Regulation isn't something achieved and just kept forever. It's a practice and a return. And if you're looking too deep in your practices, make sure to check out my other videos. Friend, thank you so much for sharing a piece of your day with me. You are doing so amazing. Stay present, stay kind to yourself, and I will see you soon.